16th of December 2014, Peshawar. Students of Army Public School had just begun their school day when the sound of heavy gunfire erupted. 7 armed militants had stormed the religiously affiliated school and opened fire on the staff and students. This brutal act of terror left more than 150 dead and another 100 injured. And the worst part is, most of the victims of this attack were just school children. This outrageous attack, which shocked the entire world, was conducted by the Pakistani terrorist group Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP. In 2012, this group also carried out the assassination attempt of Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani female education rights activist and 2014 Nobel Peace Prize recipient. TTP has always been the biggest threat to stability and security in South Asia. The TTP's activities have grown so notorious and brazen that the USA and China are also stepping in to help Pakistani authorities tackle this menace. This group has grown in power and influence to the degree that it is now a major threat to Pakistan's and South Asia's stability. Will TTP be able to overthrow Pakistan? And if it does, what will be its impact? The word Taliban is a Pashto word meaning student. The extremist group Taliban chose this word as their namesake because when the movement was founded, it comprised mainly of peasants and farmers studying in Islamic schools, or madrasas. The Taliban itself was formed in the early 90s as a resistance to the Soviet attempt to invade Afghanistan. The Taliban received aid from the USA to defend against their common enemy. But we all know how that turned out. The Taliban used the power and training they had acquired to slowly and steadily conquer territory in Afghanistan, binding the area under their control to Sharia laws and strict Quranic practices and policies. This background on the Taliban helps us to better understand the origin of Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan. The TTP was founded in 2007 with one clear objective: unify the tribes and other affected parties against the Pakistani military. The Pakistani military has a reputation for being very authoritarian because of the unusual autonomy and power it enjoys. This power was often abused in the outlying federally administered tribal areas and neighboring Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Like their Afghan cousins, the TTP were also focused on creating a state governed by Sharia and Quranic policies. TTP leaders have openly made statements talking about their aim to establish an Islamic caliphate in Pakistan, like the one we can see developing in Afghanistan after the Taliban took over. In addition to that, the TTP have always been very clear about helping the Taliban in expelling the foreign coalition forces. Much like the Taliban, the TTP rules the areas under its control with an iron hand and has implemented strict Sharia social codes, such as the hardline segregation of men and women and placing women in a veil-like environment. This is also in line with the ideologies of other terror groups such as Al-Qaeda, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Jaish-e-Mohammed, who have been aligned with TTP. The TTP have used a slew of methods over the years to gain support and grow in power, starting off with the TTP's vision of establishing an Islamic state in Pakistan and extreme interpretation of Islam gained a lot of popularity, especially among the downtrodden groups of society, like unemployed men who don't trust the system anymore and former members of other terrorist outfits. Extremist groups like the TTP start to thrive as soon as they gain enough power and control to establish safe havens. This allows them to train fighters, plan operations, and evade government forces. In TTP's case, these safe havens are in the tribal areas of Pakistan. The TTP has built a network of support among the tribal areas and the areas it aimed to remove army influence from originally. The locals in these areas are sympathetic towards the TTP cause and are more than happy to provide a constant line of funding, recruits, and intelligence. Over the years, the TTP have managed to accumulate a large amount of small arms, rocket-propelled grenades, and improvised explosive devices from raids at Pakistani army armories and convoys, and allegedly from other nations like Afghanistan and India. They effectively use this weaponry to defend their safe havens and liberate more areas. The TTP has used a lot of tactics and methods like suicide bombings, targeted assassinations and kidnappings to subjugate people well beyond their areas of control. The TTP makes very good use of the safe havens to properly train their recruits and effectively carry out their attacks against the military of the country. Even in high-profile cities like Karachi, the TTP manifests in the form of a feared mafia that no one would dare to cross. Some would argue that the most dangerous weapon in the arsenal of an extremist group is their ability to weaponize propaganda. The TTP promotes itself by way of illegal FM radio channels, CDs, DVDs, newspapers, and websites. The TTP has also been known to romanticize the concept of child martyrdom in its propaganda messages and training. The TTP and the military have always been arch-enemies, but you must be wondering where the government is in all this. This is where things get interesting. The federally administered tribal areas were always neglected by the government, which made way for the authoritarian military rule in the area and later TTP rule. The Pakistani government had been a silent supporter of the Taliban in the past. In the early 1990s, when PM Benazir Bhutto came to power, clear shifts were made in the policy which favored the Taliban operations, and allegedly, a state-owned telephone was also set up for the Taliban. The Civil Aviation Ministry of Pakistan also repaired a fighter jet to control of the Taliban as well. As the TTP was formed and rose to power, the Pakistani government changed its tune as the TTP started threatening terrorist attacks against the USA and UK. In June 2011, a TTP spokesman vowed to attack the United States and Europe in revenge for the death of Osama bin Laden. A TTP leader in April 2012 endorsed external operations by the group and threatened attacks in the United Kingdom for its involvement in Afghanistan. This brought an end to any state sponsorship that the TTP enjoyed. The Pakistani government has launched several military operations to eradicate the TTP, but none of them have been able to effectively counter the group. Moreover, these operations have led to civilian casualties and displacement, creating internal refugees in Pakistan. The government has also made repeated attempts to engage in peace talks with the TTP, but those have not worked as well. Like the government, the relationship between the tribes and TTP is also quite interesting. Most of the regions and tribal groups wholeheartedly support the mission of the TTP, but not all. Whenever a group refuses to cooperate with the TTP, they threaten and coerce them into doing what they want. This greatly upsets the rest of the tribes and affects their overall relations. But the situation always improves, and the TTP relies on their support to this day. August 15, 2021, the Taliban take over Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, and overthrow the US-backed government. This event shocked the entire world and cast a cloud of uncertainty over the politics in South Asia. This development has given the TTP a newfound sense of purpose and security. TTP militants have established a new safe haven on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Even though the new Afghan government has promised the Pakistani government that major steps will be taken to eradicate the TTP from their country, there has been no action furthering this. The USA and China have also thrown their hat in the ring by sending support to the Pakistani government. While the US is concerned about the amount of control it has over Pakistan, which would decrease significantly if the country falls to the TTP, China is more concerned about the terror threats to its western provinces that share a border with Pakistan. This has allowed Pakistan-US ties to improve to the level they used to be during the Cold War. China-Pakistan ties have improved as well. In fact, Pakistan ties with Afghanistan and India have worsened as Pakistani officials and politicians blame them for funding and harboring TTP militants. As you can see, TTP has already had a profound impact on diplomatic relations all across the world. All in all, the TTP is going to be a very painful thorn in Pakistan's side for a very long time, and as time grows, so will their power and influence. Unless Pakistan is able to mobilize a strong resistance against the TTP, it may suffer the same fate as Afghanistan, throwing the regional politics of South Asia into absolute turmoil.